Mr. Bowman, finish processing the bullet letter, sir. All right, let me take a gander at it. Pass it there. Oh, it's looking good. You there, take care of this. Grah. Well, it isn't Detective Gumshoe. And a line for you, Portsman. We got you now. Call off your dog, Mr. Edwards. Is this some kind of joke? It's no joke. We know, Mr. Joaquis Portman, or Jacques Portman, that you are the guilty party in this case. You must be pretty upset getting chased out of your own room. I'd be mad too. So I guess you can say, if you promise to stay out of our way, you intend to hide your crime under the guise of a prosecutor doing his job. I can see right through the unsightly paper-thin mask you wear upon your crown. Who'd ever thought it would come to this? Actually, come to think of it, your mentor was Manfred von Karma, right? The light-haired prosecutor who never lost a single case for 40 long years. But there was always this incessant chatter about what evidence was that guy. Really teaches me that I've got to stay on the lookout for false accusations, you know. Are you done trying to play mind games with me? Because they won't work. The only thing you should be using that mouse of yours for now is explaining yourself. Although that too will only dig your hole deeper. Either way, your game is up. Well, aren't we full of ourselves? Even though you have yet to prove anything. I have no idea what yours. This music's good. I have no idea what sort of harebrained idea you have in mind, but there's a mountain of evidence that points away from me being the culprit. Besides, how, may I ask, do you propose I unlocked your door and got in here? Look, I feel bad doing this to you, but I've got work to do, so we're done here. We are not done here, boy. We ain't done. You are going to jail. Sorry, but we are not finished yet. Boy, you're stubborn. I suppose you're basing your accusation on something. I'll show you what I'm basing my accusation on with evidence.
Hold it!
Oh, what, pray tell, kind of evidence are we talking about here? He was my partner, so you can't say I had a motive for killing. And that's it. Not even an anthill, let alone a mountain. He's my best friend, so I definitely could kill him. I have no motive. No. Might I recommend that you review what the word evidence means? Doesn't change the fact that the evidence doesn't point to me as a killer.
Hold it!
Fortunately, I believe I've already shown how earlier. Your speculation means nothing as I still insist that I could not gain access to your room. What should I do now? Should I raise an objection? You claim to have had no way to open my door. However, is that really the honest truth? Alright, I'll humor you. Go ahead, shoot. Very well then. I propose that you use this to open my door.
Take that!
I believe you were able to open my office door with the master key, no less.
Objection!
Wait, hold on for a second. I never laid a finger on that key, as you already know. Precisely. You were able to open my door without lifting a single finger. Well, maybe you did, but only to direct. That's right. Use your finger to direct this person to open my door with the key.
Take that!
You had asked Miss Bird to open your own office door for you, yes? Yeah, I kind of forgot my key at home. Happens a bit too often for my taste, you know? But the room you had Miss Bird open at the time was not your own, was it? What? You have quite the imagination. But why don't you ask the girl herself whose door she opened, shall we? I'm certain that it was Mr. Portman's door, sir. I checked the number plate and made sure I was opening the right door, sir. See, Miss Bird backs up my story. Yet what if you had misled her to fool her into thinking what you wanted? How do you suppose I did that? By switching the number plates on our doors, for example. That's right. They do slide out pretty easily. Furthermore, you used one other thing to give a very strong impression. That the door she was opening was yours, and not, in fact, mine. What was it that Mr. Portsman used to make Miss Bird think it was his room?
Take that!
What? The basketball hoop, sir. It's quite the peculiar fixture in any hallway, let alone the hallway in this building. Which is why it left an unusually strong impression on you. It is an object perfectly suited to sit just outside the office of a peculiar prosecutor. That's very true, sir. Because there was a basketball hoop sitting there. Such a door I was opening had to be Mr. Portman's. There are signs that the hoop has been moved. To sit in front of my office, to be sure. I see, so that's how you throw suspicion on people. Thanks for the tip. But I think your conjecture is a little off the racetrack. Is it now, Brady? Is it now? I think you're the one that's a little off track. Now you're just spouting nonsense. I had the girl open my office door. To that, I was in my room the entire time. You don't have a single reason to suspect me. So he intends to claim innocence to the end, does he? I am pure and innocent as my jacket. Miss Bird is as dirty and guilty as the jacket she wears. My jacket is not dirty, I'll have you know. I just washed it yesterday. Please calm down, for I intend to show who it is the one truly covered in slime here. Do we yeah, this is probably it. It's probably... Oh, I didn't mean to hit present. No, let's press. I think I've given you quite a few reasons, actually. But none of them would stand up on their own.
Objection!
Then what about all the evidence?
Objection!
It's all circumstantial. No judge would convict on such flimsy evidence. He seems to be trembling a little bit. One more little push. All I have to do is find a flaw in his own testimony. Yeah, but her fingerprints aren't on your door, dude.
Objection!
I had your door dusted for prints. My door? What? What for? Come on, I bet you didn't find anything. You sure you're good at wasting time? You're right. I didn't find anything. And definitely not Miss Bird's fingerprints. Her prints? What does they have to do with anything? Let's put it this way. If she really was the one that opened your door, then her prints would naturally be on the doorknob she touched. Ah! Further, all the prints on my office door have been wiped clean off. And I can only assume it's because Miss Bird's fingerprints were on it.
Objection!
But it doesn't change the fact that I was in my room the entire time. Is that really a fact, or is it fiction? Hey, would I lie to you? I have here proof that you were not in your room the entire time as you claim.
Take that!
This is a note that the victim left for you, Mr. Portsman. A note? It was left under your door. Did you not notice? And right here it says, "But you're out." You were not in your room when the victim came to call on you. So then, where were you and what were you doing? Ah! Don't you think it's time you gave up this charade? We know that you stole into my office with the intent of stealing something from me. And Detective Face found you out. Possibly because he heard sounds coming from a room whose occupant was on leave. Mr. Portman, you killed Mr. Face to silence him. And I had the misfortune to return when I did. You had to threaten me as you escaped. As I said when you had the gun to my back. No one gets away with committing murder in my office. He's not done yet. Just what's so funny, pal? Well, look at that look of stiff seriousness on the face of this finest prosecutor. And he makes a huge mistake in accusing me and is simply too much to bear. There's just nothing else like it in the world. Huh? Huh? What? No, okay, we haven't used the safe yet. The only person that could have uncovered it was him. Mr. Eckler's just explained it all. He even backed it up backed it up. You're the murderer. Stop trying to be slippery and just admit to the crime already. It's not gonna, Maggie. This is way too early for him to admit. We still got more evidence to present. And as I said earlier, it's also circumstantial, so full of conjecture. You say you checked my doorknob for prints? Well, I can really confess I had wiped my doorknob down well. No, you didn't. There's still prints on it. Eh? I'm a little obsessive compulsive, you see. I didn't want to touch a doorknob that you had touched, which is why I wiped the doorknob down as soon as I could after you opened the door. After that, it makes perfect sense that only Jim's and my own prints would be on there. How? How can you say that, you idiot? Your print, you have a bunch of prints on it, and Jim put the note under the door. That means he couldn't open the door. His prints went beyond it after Maggie locked it. This guy's not very bright. You made that all up just now, didn't you? Furthermore, As for the note Jim left me, do you know exactly when that was? For all we know, it could have been left there before I arrived at my office. Like earlier evening, for example? Are you saying that you failed to notice a note in your doorway? Hey, even genius fails at times. I was probably too preoccupied by work-related matters, although that's no excuse. Maggie would have seen it too, though. Maggie would have noticed it. If it was really there, Maggie would have noticed it. Ah, but you can't prove that, can you? Say something, Mr. Edgeworth. Back me up here. Portman makes a good point. We can't prove that he didn't simply overlook it. Besides, I have an airtight alibi. Airtight, you say? I only just realized I had one when we were talking. I guess it would be better for all of us if I'd told you sooner. If memory serves me, you came back to this office at 2 a.m., correct? It was then that you had the unfortunate confrontation at gunpoint with the culprit. But at exactly that time, I was down in criminal affairs. Ask around. I'm sure the other detectives will corroborate my story. It's the perfect alibi. Do you really think it's that perfect? Like I said, I don't care. Ask around all you like. You'll see for yourself. Detective Gumshoe. Sir, yes, sir. I'll go check out his alibi, sir. Be right back. Mr. Edgeworth, sir, I think we're in trouble. It's just like Mr. Portsman said. Guys down in criminal affairs said they saw him around 2 a.m. You see? All of the evidence points to him being the culprit. So there must be a contradictory point in his alibi somewhere. But the victim died at 2:05. Or the body was found at 2:05. So was someone different the one that confronted Edgeworth? It's probably one of the someone he had do this.
Hold it!
It is as you say. However, yes. However, you are the only one who claims to have bumped into the culprit. So tell me, did you see the person's face? Was it me who you saw? It was pitch black, so I couldn't actually see.
Objection!
Oh, come on now. I'm sure you saw something. Try a little harder, why don't you? Beginning to feel like I'm the one being interrogated here. Oh well, it doesn't matter if you remember or not. It only matters that you ran into the culprit.
Hold it!
So you paid the criminal affairs department a visit. Yep. Right after I left the prosecutor's building, I headed straight for the precinct.
Hold it!
Well, we did go ask around to confirm your testimony. And it was just as I said, right? Yes, sir. A number of detectives said that they saw you at around that time. See? I have the perfect alibi. You have an alibi for when Edgeworth discovered the body, but you don't have an alibi for when the victim died. So, that's the ace I had up my sleeve. Sportman alibi seems perfect at first glance, but I know there's a hole in it somewhere. All I need to do is press him a little and see what comes of it. Okay, so we need to press the first statement then.
Hold it!
You're correct. It was around 2 a.m. Are you sure? It's really important to me that you're on your spot on with the time. I remember checking my watch and then making no mistake, it was 2. Ooh, giving testimony like a pro. Okay, so you came back to your office at 2? Possible. He actually does have a perfect alibi. What's wrong? Why is the sudden sullen look on your face? Can you say anything back, Mr. Edgeworth? I think we've reached the end of the line, and it's time to get off this crazy train. You there? Sir! Please escort this young lady out. But remember, be gentle. Maggie! Detective Gumshoe! Is there nothing I can do? There must be a way to turn this situation around. Flare de clue. Did I miss something that can help me cast doubt on his alibi? Need to calmly think this through one more time, and with logic. You see, what about that second gun? You got a gun, right, buddy? How about we check the ballistic markings? There were 2 bullets at the scene of the crime. One that robbed Mr. Face of his life. And one that nearly robbed me of my jacket. However, the murder weapon only shows signs of being fired once, meaning that it is entirely possible that the second gun was used in my office tonight. That there was a second gun was used in my office tonight. But seeing how the killer had to steal Mr. Face's gun, I doubt the killer had another gun up their sleeves. Therefore, the second gun could have been property of an entirely different person. Which could mean that there was another person who paid a visit to my office tonight. Well, there's only 2 options here. Supposing there was yet another visitor tonight, that would also resolve the issue of why my shelves were upended twice. We know that the shelves were disturbed once before and once after the murder. So it shouldn't have been much of a stretch to think that it was the work of 2 different people. Once by a person who stole the victim's gun and killed him with it. And once again after the murder by our second culprit, who was the owner of the second gun. If we suppose that the second culprit's gun was the one pointed at my back.
Objection!
Mr. Portman, it seems that I need to amend my assumptions regarding this case. Great. So you finally come to your senses? Mr. Edgeworth? Sir, what are you saying? This has been a big misunderstanding on my part for the start. I had assumed that the person I ran into was the killer, but that may not be the case. What do you mean? The person I ran into was just your average thief. A thief? But sir, that actually caused some sort of contradiction in the facts. Not at all. It simply means that the killer was someone else. And it means that in actuality, 2 culprits stole into my office tonight. Who's the second one? It explains why both my shelves were disturbed twice, and how there were 2 guns. Is this a Confess the Truth theme? Mr. Portsman tricked Miss Bird and gained entry into my office. Now you're just leading the argument. You still don't have any actual proof, you know. If you could please go along with my hypothetical scenario for now, Mr. Portsman. In the end, If you really are innocent, you should have nothing to worry about. Yeah, see, him objecting right there is just obvious sign of guilt. He doesn't want Edgeworth to talk. Now then, returning to my scenario, Mr. Portsman. Mr. Portsman was out to steal something from me, which is why he checked my secret safe and ransacked my shelves. This is the first time. So then, it would be the files were put back in the wrong order, right? Correct. And then, just when he was about to look somewhere else, who should walk in but his own partner, Mr. Face? But why did Mr. Face come into your room, sir? He probably had business with Mr. Portsman, which is why he was in the area. But that's when he noticed sounds coming from my office. It would be my guess. Because you were supposed to be away, right? And he must have thought it was odd that someone came into this office to check it out. Correct. And as a detective, that was the right thing to do. But when he came in and found his own partner standing there, because it was Mr. Portsman, Mr. Face probably let his guard down. But Mr. Portsman was not so merciful as to let him leave alive. He waited for a chance to install Mr. Face's gun from him, and then... he killed him. He silenced Mr. Face for catching him in the act of stealing. This was the moment in which the first shot was fired, the one that landed in my files. Following that, Mr. Portsman wiped the gun down and left it behind as he made his exit. He could afford to do that because he had also left fake dying message behind. You're such a complicated troublemaker, you know that? Well, if things were as simple as that, then all would be solved. However, there was yet another visitor to my room, and this is where it gets complicated. There was another visitor, sir? Yes. This other person's objective was also to steal something from me. Now then, even after Mr. Portsman left, the door to my office remained unlocked. However, this new visitor had no way of knowing that, and so they stole the master key from the security guard's room, and then entered my room and searched through my shelves. This was the second time they were disturbed, and seems to see found their prize. The Soul Zero file, sir? Correct. Only just as the thief was about to leave with the file, I appeared. The thief then threatened me with their own gun and made their escape. The second bullet was fired during that brief encounter. So I'm guessing the second person we're not gonna discover yet. That we probably still have to go searching for them, but the only important thing like we can resolve right now is catching Mr. Portsman as a killer. So Chubb getting messed up twice in the two bullets. It's all because two different people were doing those things at two different times. Precisely. So now do you see, Mr. Portsman? The person I met was just a thief. It was not, in fact, Mr. Face's killer. Your alibi for the time frame in which I ran into the other person is now irrelevant. Because we now know the murder took place during the first culprit's visit. What's so funny, pal? Absolutely splendid. Your new scenario explains everything. Of course it does. It's Mr. Edgeworth after all. But you know, it still doesn't change the facts that it's all circumstantial. Supposing if, and that's a big if your theory is right. It would indeed render my alibi, which has withstood scrutiny, mind you, irrelevant. But there is still one big defining point of your argument, of which you have no evidence. Your supposition is that I was the first visitor. Dude. Are you dumb or something? Are you dumb? Strikers, can't get him away with that, sir. But he has a point. I have absolutely no proof at this point. You do, though, Edgeworth. Don't say that, sir. I don't believe this. Don't worry, Maggie. I'll do something if I must. You know something? I find your attitude to be somewhat peculiar, Mr. Edgeworth. The person you met was actually just a plain old thief. Then why is that person not your main suspect? That is, if your theory is correct. Okay, I'm guessing he's gonna make some claim about the thief, knowing about the safe, and we can contradict him on that. Oh, I didn't read that. I was jamming to the music. That thief you ran into should be your real suspect, wouldn't you say? We should be out there looking for that thief right now. They might still be nearby. I hate to repeat myself, but I've already said I was training in my room. And when Jim came to deliver some evidence to me, I was down into criminal affairs. Oh, okay, yeah. So I can't be expected to know what happened around here after I left. Okay, I see a contradiction. So you think we should be out there looking for the thief? Of course, there's the time we have these dead-end discussions. I don't think it's all dead-ended. If I find your alibi to be fascinating. Let's continue where we left off, shall we? I know he's lying. I know he was here at the scene of the crime. I just have to find a way to prove it. Okay, so it is him I wanted to say. Like when he was like my problem immediately is right here. Because the body was found at 2:05. And like there's no way like the timeline works out like that.
Objection!
Nope.
Hold it!
When did you go there with Mr. Faith? Ah, that's because he said he was tired and was going to take a quick nap. You know those sofas in the hallway? He likes to sleep on those. It's one of his habits. What of the evidence he brought? There were things related to yesterday's case. Just 2 items. A gun and a pen. So why aren't those on his body? Interesting. This piece of testimony seems too crucial to let slip through the cracks.
Hold it!
A gun and a pendant. Yes, this gun, which was the murder weapon. And this pendant, which belonged to the victim. Oh, really? Oh, really? You want to run that back for me, buddy? You want to run that back for me, saying this gun was a murder weapon in a previous case? This is the victim's gun, 100%. That horse mark proves it right there. And why were you taking them to criminal affairs? There was something in a past case file I wanted to compare these two to. Well, this has nothing to do with the case right now. Anyway, I believe you'll find the long paper trail I left to be your satisfaction. It's all matching up to what Detective Gumshoe found out.
Hold it!
I can't expect you to know, can I? No? But I guess you can expect me to take a guess based on logical deductions. Oh, so let's see you deduce. Jim wanted me to leave. Jim waited for me to leave and then stole the master key. For the purpose of sneaking into your room, of course. That's when Miss Bird caught him red-handed, and the murder occurred. It's all exactly as I laid out earlier. I know he's lying. I know he was here at the scene of the crime. I just have to find a way to prove it. He's saying the thief should be the real suspect, as the thief shouldn't have known about this.
Objection!
No? How?
Hold it!
Actually, no, I wouldn't. But why not? That's elementary. The dying message, of course. Mr. Face Killer very clearly left those letters on the spine of those files. And it was after they were on that the thief stole one of them. You mean the zero files, right? And that's how we know the letters themselves were set up, not from Mr. Faith. The thief was the killer. Do you think they would try to undermine themselves? Maybe the killer just didn't think of that either. Yes, that must be it. Maybe, just maybe.
Hold it!
But according to Mr. Faith's note. Hold on, I thought we already cleared that up. Didn't we say Jim left that note for me earlier in the evening? If you have proof that he left it in a different time, say just before he was murdered. I don't have any, no. You see? So I insist again that it was in my office the entire time.
One eternity later.
Oh, I'm...
Objection!
I'm an idiot. He only said 2, and there was 3. Where's the third piece of evidence? Only 2 pieces. I believe the proper phrase here is, you fail. Excuse me? You fail as a prosecutor, Mr. Portsman, as you intend to keep evidence hidden from me. What are you talking about? I haven't hidden anything from you. Well, here's the piece I think you should read carefully. Ah, it says that Mr. Face would bring in 3 pieces. Yes, and this is the victim's real dying message to you, Mr. Portsman. I can't believe it. I got tripped up by a simple arithmetic. Where is the missing piece of evidence? You have it, don't you? Only the guilty would make such a face. Detective Gumshoe.
You have to say it, sir.
I'll pat that guy down from head to toe. It's gonna be the metal. Is it the metal that's the evidence? Ah! Don't come any closer. I'm warning you. It's all part of the investigation, pal. So don't even think about stopping me. No! Hey, what's this? You had this on him, sir. Despite what you said, it would appear that you do have something to hide. But why would he hunt something like that? There's only one reason anybody would want to hide evidence of this caliber. It's because it would unequivocally point to that person himself as the real killer. Let's examine this videotape in a little more detail. for the section of the tape that will drive the last nail into his coffin. Ooh. The KG8 incident. That's a police case number, sir. Does that mean this video is evidence from that case? Interesting. However, what's recorded on this isn't what's important right now. Let's give this casing a thorough once-over. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Ah, that's blood, isn't it? Yes, and I believe this is what the good prosecutor was trying to hide from us. This blood is still fresh. You mean this might be Detective Face's blood? No. You've got it all wrong. No amount of denial can save you. We have but to run a blood test to find the truth. It's so easy for him to be able to say, oh, that's just evidence I picked up off his corpse, man. I was taking it to investigate. I didn't need to tell you guys. You told us that you had received evidence from the victim earlier. Now you will tell us when and how did the victim's blood find its way onto this video. Yeah, it's totally suspicious. Was it at the moment of his death? Did Detective Face have this videotape on his personage when you killed him? You know very well there's no way that you to prove that. Not even if we were to examine this tape for fingerprints. If I had to take a guess, I'd say that the only ones here who would belong to the murderous you and Mr. Face. No, impossible. I'm. March 14th, 5:47 a.m. High Prosecutor's Office, room 1202. Mr. Postman's been placed under arrest for the murder of Detective Buddy Face, sir. Very good. So we got back from the lab techs on the tape turned out to be real solid, sir. The blood work came back to me, and it was definitely Mr. Face blood on it. And as a bonus, they were all left a few Mr. Face prints out as well. Thank you so much, Mr. Hedgeworth. Still can't believe I got to see your cool deduction skills outside of the courtroom. I'm impressed beyond words, sir. It was nothing. I'm just sorry you got caught up in my murder in my office. Please accept my apologies. Ah, it was nothing, really. Compared to what I've been through. I mean, I consider myself lucky that it was only a burglary and murder this time, sir. If it had been a hold-up or a hostage situation, I'd have thrown my hands up in the air. Or it's like I'm finally bracing up from a goddess of misfortune to just an unlucky person. Something tells me we should have hired a different person for a security detail. You know something, sir? That Mr. Portsman really was one corrupt prosecutor. And why would you say he was corrupt? Well, I heard there was a number of suspicious things related to his court cases. There are rumors about how some of the evidence he used is forged, sir. Forged evidence, They say he even decided not to prosecute a few cases for some really vague reasons. Oh, that guy was a complete disgrace to the entire profession. We never did get around to asking what his reason was for breaking into my office. Yeah, whenever it got near the topic, he just clammed up. Although, we can be pretty certain that it was to steal something. It's just between you and me, sir, but it's a rumor of some sort of huge organization is involved behind the scenes. Oh, well, well. Was Mr. Portsman not willing to divulge anything? Certainly lends credence to that rumor. It would seem that we haven't heard the last of this. Huh? That Mr. Portsman isn't a bad guy? I didn't say that, but rather, there are still many more mysteries for us to solve. For example, we still haven't figured out the significance of this piece of evidence.
Take that!
Now? Yes, the Zero Series file, the significance of which we have yet to fully comprehend. The person who stole this file, the other villain of the night. Yeah, I wonder who it was. Like, we didn't discuss why print stuff was wiped off the keypad. Fine. What happened to the stolen pages? I wonder, who in the world was it that held me up at gunpoint? Mr. Edwards, sir. Yes. I came across this while I was processing your office earlier, sir. This card. What is it, sir? Is there a bird or something on there? It's not just any bird. It's a mark of the raven. It's a three-legged raven. Even you should know what this is, detective. Oh, it's about that thing, isn't it? That great thief everyone's been talking about. Yes, it is the mark of the great thief. Yatagarasu. Under the mark of the legendary bird Yatagarasu is a noble to the end, a modern Robin Hood. Labeled mysterious and phantom-like, the Yatagasu appears and vanishes at will. So, we don't know much about his thief's ultimate goal. We do know the targets. The Yatagarasu likes to find and make public evidence that of corrupt dealings of all sorts. The theft is always performed in silence and always with perfection. Once the target is chosen, no dramatic calling card or announcement is sent forth. Instead, the chosen corporation is infiltrated. Instead, the chosen corporation is infiltrated without even the target noticing. Some days later, the evidence that was found is sent out to the mass media, along with this single card. Although it has been a while since Yatagarasu last appeared. Ah! Hey, Mr. Edwards, look, something's written on the back. What? Let me see. It's the location of where the thief put the stolen files. So the person who stole the contents of the file was the Yatagarasu. Yatagarasu. Organization. Quite a few key words are popping up in this mystery. The murder in my office. The return of the great thief, Yatagarasu. Looking back, I can't say I didn't see these events coming, for they were heralded by the incidents that began to occur 2 days ago. Ooh, so something happened 2 days ago? But wasn't Edgeworth out of town?